Okay, so thank you very much, Edward. We will start right away. We only have 20 minutes, and it's a long topic, so we will dive in right now. Um, okay, today we are going to speak about an introduction to machine learning applied to online advertising. And this presentation is articulated in three parts. First, the introduction, then we will see an overview of online advertising. And then we will step into how to apply machine learning to online advertising. Okay. Now, why am I related to online advertising? Well, in 2010, there was a crisis in Spain, very few jobs, and I decided to try to make money online. So I created websites and I put some adverts online, and I started making money. So that didn't go, that went well for a while, but up to a certain point, it stopped going well. But the thing is that I learned a lot, and that's what you say when your business goes down, is that you learn a lot. So what is online advertising? It is whenever you, an advert on the internet. So the adverts on the internet, they are called online advertising. Go. Well, that's a good point, and it is whenever you're getting something for free, whenever you're getting a product for free, it's because you are the product. If you see YouTube, it's free, Gmail is free, all Google Maps, and so on and so forth. So why are all those companies giving you those amazing products for free? And that's because you are the product. They are selling traffic. They are selling the adverts that that they are displaying on you. Here, for example, even though we are in a crisis, even though we're in a crisis, these adverts, second-hand cars, that was just yesterday, and people still advertising online. So whenever a company wants to promote themselves on the internet, they have two options. One that is more long-term, which is search engine optimization, and that is doing an amazing website with an amazing content, and that is more focused on the long term. But yeah. Now, companies usually they want to pay the bills, so they need to make money every month, and that's why they go to online advertising. And yeah, I don't know. Okay, here is the a nice picture of Dubai or Abu Dhabi. That's the little joke of the day. What is the difference between Abu Dhabi and Dubai? And in Dubai they don't like Flintstones, and in Abu Dhabi do. Okay, very bad joke, but we keep going. Now, I did my thesis in online advertising. You know that Google and Facebook, they're huge. They have almost take over all the market, and it's very difficult to compete against them. So my PhD was about designing small ad networks that by doing a collaborative model, they could compete against Google or Facebook. Main problems of and where they more struggle, the small advertising networks, is that it's very difficult to detect fraud online because there are a lot of people trying to cheat the system, and it's very difficult to detect them. So now we're going to see a small overview of the online advertising landscape. Now you can see how online advertising has grown in the last 20 years. Here we have from 1997 to 2019. And you can see that the money companies spend online is growing and growing and growing, and I hope that it will still growing. So 2019 is the first year in history in which companies in the US spend more money in digital marketing than in traditional media, whereby traditional media, we understand TV, press, radio, all those things put together. And it is expected that in 2023, the amount of money companies spend online is 2/3 of all the advertising. And that is amazing, and that's why those companies are so famous: Google, Facebook, and so on. So here it's a very interesting plot. There is a company called IAB, which is Internet Advertising Bureau, and they're an organization that every year they create a report of the online advertising landscape, and it's very interesting because you can see the evolution, and you can see all the trends and those things. So 76% of all the online advertising is made only by 10 companies, and you guys, I think you can guess which companies are those. So which companies do you think they are? I'm feeling like, okay, I will tell you in the next slide. So Google is the #1. It has 31% of the whole market, and imagine that half of the online advertising half of the advertising is made online, and from that half, Google takes 31% and Facebook 20%. So only two companies make more than 50%. That is amazing. Then companies from China like Alibaba, Baidu, or Tencent are starting to grow, and they are taking some interesting piece of the cake. Also, Amazon decided to go on for the online advertising, and it's not doing bad. It's 4%. That's a good. If you see, Verizon is the company that bought Yahoo. Yahoo was #1 like 10, 15 years ago, and Google went to them and said, "Do you want to buy my algorithm?" And Yahoo said, "No, we already have an algorithm that has 90% of accuracy. Yours is 95 or 96, but people don't distinguish between." So they decided not to buy Google, and they regretted it for the rest of their entire life. Okay, why is online advertising so popular? Why is it growing so fast? Well, first of all, in online advertising, guys, can you hear me well and everything?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Okay, can you see the screen? No.
No, now the screen is gone.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so why online advertising is so popular? Because you can measure its performance instantly, because you can see if the users are clicking or if they're interested or not. Micro-targeting, that's a very interesting thing. You can say, okay, I will go, imagine I have a new song, a new album from Billie Eilish, and I can say, okay, I will promote this new album for teenagers with this level of education in this country, especially maybe girls, and so on. So you can target your public by different features, and that makes it very profitable and very effective. Online advertising is also available for any budget. Even though you are a small company, you can still, like, if you want to spend €5 per day, that will also make it. You can start and stop your campaign whenever you want. You can collect a lot of data, and that's Those are the main advantages of why, and explains why people are so keen on investing online. 45% of the adverts that are made are by search. When people are searching, that's where the money is, and also banners. So that's most of online advertising. Here is a very interesting thing. You can see that phones. We are comparing here in this graph the tendency of mobile phones against desktop. And you can see that in 2013, people didn't use the smartphone so much. It was the year of iPhone 5S. And from that moment, phones started to be bigger, bigger screens, more resolution, and people decided to buy online. And in the 2019, 70%, almost 70% of the adverts are made on mobile phones. So the tendency has swapped. And that's why Google made Google Android, because they wanted to dominate the mobile market and to guarantee that people will still using Google while they created a free operating system. You know, when you do an online, or you perform an online advertising campaign, you can apply different payment schemes. One is paying for 1,000 impressions, and regardless of how many people are clicking on your adverts, or the model that is number one now, which is cost per click, which means every time someone clicks in your advert, you pay. And if nobody clicks, then you don't pay at all. So that model is what people think is more fair, and that's why it's more applied. It is also better for companies because they have to apply machine learning to see which advert is more likely to be clicked. So there is a lot of machine learning in the background. The first models in online advertising were quite primitive. They were like, you go to a website and you say, okay, I want to display this banner 1 million times, and I will pay you for all this week, and I will pay you whatever. That was not very scalable. And then ad networks, which managed the space that publishers had on their websites, and they got a commission for displaying the adverts of the advertisers. But that's that's a much better, more elaborated model at networks, and you can put them Google, you can put their Yahoo and Bing and others. And nowadays there is a new model called real-time bidding, and in this model, it's like a global auction where impressions are sold on an individual basis. Well, every time there is a user accessing a website, an advert is displayed, and all the advertisers bid to display their advert on that website. Real-time bidding is the latest model, and it's growing, especially in China. Okay, now how can we apply machine learning to online advertising? And we're in minute number 14, so it's still 6 minutes. How can we apply machine learning? Well, just imagine, here is all the information that Facebook gathers from you. The birthday, location, political interests, religion, groups, music, how many likes, who are your friends, which are your pictures, which website. Also, don't forget that in your browser you have the cookies, and in those cookies you have a lot of information about all the websites that you visited in the past. So that's very useful for companies to display the best advert. So if you are visiting cars, you will see a lot of adverts about cars and so on. So online advertising is an amazing playground for machine learning practitioners because they have a lot of information and they can gather a lot of data and they can create models. And even though a new model makes a little improvement, when you apply it to the billions of transactions that are made in online advertising every day, that turns out to be a huge amount of money. So deep learning is also revolutionary in this regard because there are algorithms that have a lot of layers and have a lot of nodes, and they can process a lot of information and keep learning. So they are very useful.
السلام عليكم كابتن مصر كل سنة وانت طيب يا حبيبي أخبارك عامل إيه؟
Okay, there is someone in the background. But
ربنا يبارك لي فيك يا رب ربنا يكرمك. شوف بس لو تقدر شوف.
Sorry, I have to imitate this guy. Okay, machine learning.
ربنا يجزيك ألف خير. ولا تمنن تستكثر عن مؤسسة بس.
Okay, I think I mutate.
الحمد لله.
Okay, I muted this guy. Now we go backwards, and in machine learning you can apply classification, you can apply regression, clustering, dimensionally reduction, and also you can apply reinforcement learning, which is it's more or less new, and we will see where we can apply. So, for example, Google. Every time you type something, Google has to understand what are you typing and show the most relevant websites to that query. So you need a lot of text mining and natural language processing techniques to come out with the best results or the most relevant. And Google is working on improving that all the time, because if the results were not relevant, people will move to another browser. So that's the end of their business. So they're working a lot there. Also, as we were saying, okay, I have different adverts, but which one should I display? So the one that has more probability to be clicked, and you also apply a classification algorithm there. So you have all the attributes from the user, and you say, okay, this one has 70% of being clicked. This one has 50% of being clicked. So I will display the first one. Where machine learning is also applied, imagine Amazon. Amazon knows what you already bought and what are your interests and what you are visiting. So if Amazon knows, okay, if this guy liked this product and this product, then it's quite certain that he will like also this and this product. That's called clustering, and it's made for recommender systems to suggest users products which can potentially interest them. Also for targeting, okay, I have this new product and I want to do an online campaign, but I don't know which kind of audience is more interested in my product. So to select the right parameters, machine learning is also applied. Again, as we were saying, small companies struggle a lot because they are not able to detect which are the bad guys in this game. So online advertising, machine learning is also applied to detect anomalies in the way users are browsing and say, okay, this looks like a natural user, or this guy looked like a robot or like a bot. And there are all kinds of people that trying to cheat the system, and if you don't detect them, the campaigns of the advertiser go waste. They make no money. It's all spent in robots. They are not happy, and they move on to another platform. So detecting fraud is key in this business, and to that end, machine learning algorithms are very much used. Now, for example, I want to publish my advert and we have 1 minute left. I want to publish my advert, but I don't know what is the right price. So if I pay €3, maybe I am overpaying. If I bid 50 cents, I will never get that space because other people will pay more. So what is the right price? Well, that's a place where reinforcement learning can be applied. So you create an agent, and the agent has to optimize the money, and it has states where actions, which is bidding or not bidding, and it's you can address that problem from a reinforcement learning perspective, and it works well. In fact, those guys were the ones that got more performance. Also, A/B testing, and this is also reinforcement learning. I have different clients, and the different clients have different profiles, but I don't know which web will like them more. Maybe they prefer this one. If I display that style of website, it's more likely that they will buy, or maybe it is this one. So I don't know. So it's the famous A/B testing problem, and this can be solved also by reinforcement learning, which is a part of machine learning. Machine learning is online advertising is an area where there are thousands of publications in every different, in many different topics. Click-through rate represents the probability that a user will click on an advert. So there are a lot of publications in this area. Generally, Google and Facebook have very good algorithms, but they will never publish them because they don't want their advantage, their competitive advantage to be wasted. So they will never publish those adverts. Well, sometimes they do, but it's not the core, or it's not the most relevant part of their business. So there are a lot of papers like this. And also, as I was saying, how to improve your real-time bidding campaigns by applying reinforcement learning. This is also an advert that has a lot of citations, and it's very good. And online shop. Imagine I am trying to sell something online, and I put a product online. So I can tune my product and say, okay, if I put this price, I will sell this amount of items. And if I change this, if I change the color, or if I change, if I do this offer, then I will sell. So you can create a machine learning model to predict how many items will you sell of a product depending on the attributes, and you can try to optimize your product to make the highest profit. And also sentiment analysis, and this is the last slide. Imagine you're doing an online campaign and you don't know how it is performing. So, but generally people post comments on your, if you're doing a campaign on Twitter or in Facebook or somewhere. And so you can analyze the comments of your customers, and you can see if they are happy or if they are positive or negative on these things. And that was it. So thank you very much. It was 24 minutes, not too much, but that's it. And I will unmute you. Okay. You can talk now if you want. So hello.
Any questions for Luis then?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think someone has not muted their mic there, but
I don't know how to mute this guy. Yeah, I think. Can you hear me now?
yes, yes.
Okay, so that was it. I hope you liked the presentation, and you have any question, I will be very happy to.
I have a question. Just are there online freely available data set for training the models?
Yes, okay, that's a good question. There are two repositories where you can find a lot of online content. One is Kaggle, and in Kaggle, you not only you have the data sets, but also there are competitions, and when the guy wins, it has to publish the algorithm. So you have the data set and you have the best algorithm, and that's normally it's in R or in Python, and it's very useful because you can. It's a very good starting point, which you can try to improve, or you can try to copy and apply to another domain. So it's Kaggle is one, and the other one is UCI repository, which is very famous. My goodness, yeah, UCI, but the famous.
I have a question, Louise. This is Cronin here. Hi. Would you be able to go through the algorithm a little bit more detail on how you come up with the appropriate bid price for the online ad? Maybe just go through the target variables and things in a little bit more detail, please.
Okay. So, are you asking for calculating the price of an advert, or the price which I want to bid?
Yeah, the price you want to bid, I suppose.
Okay, so imagine that in reinforcement learning, okay, there is an agent, and that agent has different actions, and one action can be like bidding or not bidding, and if it bids, giving a certain price. So you have to define very well something that is called rewards, okay? Rewards. So rewards are like the equation by which this agent is going to learn. So for example, you are trying to optimize, you give your agent, let's say you're doing a campaign, you give it 10,000 euros, okay? And you're going to simulate this online with a data set. You are not going to do it in real, because you will spend billions after your robot learns. So imagine you're doing like a simulation, you give it like $10,000, and you say, okay, I want a reward, and I want to say I am selling t-shirts, and with those 10,000, I want to sell as many t-shirts as possible. So for every t-shirt the agent sells, you will give it a reward, okay? And then you will say, okay, I don't want to sell all the t-shirts the same day, because if I do that, all my budget will be spent in only one day, and I don't want that to happen. So I will penalize the agent if it spends more than certain money every day, okay? So the agent starts putting a price and says, okay, I will pay 100 euros for each advert. So it only publishes 10 adverts, and it sells very few t-shirts, and says, okay, I will try a different approach. And it goes to 50 cents, and it goes with 50 cents, and it never publishes. So it sells no t-shirts, and say, okay, this strategy is no. So when the agent sells one t-shirt, it remembers and says, okay, this is a good price, and this action drive me to sell but if I repeat this action, I will sell more t-shirts. So that's a good way. So it remembers it, and it will repeat it in future. So at the beginning, it performs actions randomly, and then by doing random experiments, it discovers which are the best actions, and then it starts to focus on that. Sorry, I cannot hear you.
That type of information is in the historical data set of successful adverts versus sales.
Well, you have to simulate that. So if you're a company that sells t-shirts, you should have a data set, and then you know which users are more likely to buy. So you represent those. And that once your model is tuned and it's working well, you put it online. And it's sometimes things work very well in theory, but when you apply it to the real world, there is a little bit of this adjustment, but that will be like a little bit more.
And what library or algorithm were you using for that?
Well, deep Q learning is like the one most people use. It's quite good, and also it's implemented. I will recommend to go in Python, and yeah, and there are a lot of examples online. In particular, in this example, the guys that published this paper, they also have a GitHub code. So if you write me, I can send you that code and it can be useful.
Okay, thanks very much.
Yeah. Okay.